This is one of my favorite things to do, sowing carrots. We massively failed at this the first year and figured it out over the next couple years. Last year we grew a lot of carrots and we've even tried them in grow bags. After this year, if what I'm doing is a success, I'll be able to have a ton of confidence in the process that I've figured out. What we're gonna do right now is figure out this thing. Last year, my friend Brandon has a really expensive carrot seeder, and he came over and helped me seed about 13 20-foot rows of carrots, and we did a lot. It doesn't take that much time, and I was just so impressed by the carrot seeder because I didn't have to thin. This carrot seeder was about $50, and it's a single row, and I'm doing them in raised beds. And his was a big, called the Jang, I think, carrot seeder, and it was hundreds of dollars. So there's different sizes for different use cases. This is just a small seed sower, and we're gonna figure out how it works. Hopefully it works really well, and I have an idea on how to do that. What we're gonna do right now with the paper towel is kind of figure out what spacing the seeds will be. I think if I did it just on the counter here, it would be hard to see the seeds for one, and they might kind of bounce all over. And I kind of want to see what they do and where they land so I can know if I have to adjust the seeder to one of the other wheels. I'm going to put them into the hopper here, we'll call it. See, I already see that it is the hole is kind of holding like 6 or 7 seeds. So I might have to swap this out for a different wheel. Let me pull this along. Oh my, look how many seeds. See, that's way too many seeds. I could do better than that by hand. So what we're gonna do is get the smallest one. We'll start with the smallest one if that's too small. That's so many seeds. Oh man, I'm glad I tried this and just didn't go for it out in the garden. That one looks like it might be okay for something more like a radish. I have some radish seeds right here. Those are a lot bigger and also a little bit easier to thin if you have to than carrots, in my opinion. That would work for radishes if you had to do a big long row and you didn't want to do it by hand, but I'm going to try to swap out this for the smallest one. So this is the smallest one, and it looks like they also have a smaller one with more intense spacing. So I'm thinking I'm going to use this one, and then this one if I need more seed on the ground, because it's okay to overseed carrots a little bit. If you have carrots are really tricky with germination. You have to keep them wet. So I overseed anyway, but that was just too much. So I'm gonna try to put this one in. That's okay, I guess. It only took a couple minutes here. But let's see how she does here. Okay, well, that is still a lot of carrot seeds. Wondering if this is gonna work at all. That's pretty overseeded. I might try to go a little faster maybe. Okay, we're getting a little better, I guess, but I feel like I can do better than that by hand, just by tapping out a seed packet. Text Brandon and say, is this too many seeds? This is the smallest amount I can do with that carrot seeder I got. We'll see what he says. So he says he aims for 25 to 30 seeds per foot. So I guess I could just count them. He said it doesn't look bad, but I might have to thin them still, and I don't want to thin them. So I might just hand seed I'm at about 60 seeds per foot, and he said shoot for like 25 to 30 seeds per foot. So I'm only doing 4-foot rows. That's why I thought something like this would be kind of cool. I could just zip, and maybe I'll just have to take the extra time to sow, which I'm okay with because these are always with me. And this is not always with me, so next year I'd have to find it and change out the thing and find the tools to maintain it and all that stuff. So try to keep it as simple as possible anyway, but I thought that would save me some time. Maybe we'll try it when we get out there and see which one is better. Maybe we'll time them, I don't know. I have no idea where you're gonna find them, but I recommend having a expert gardener friend or expert in any field friend on hand that texts back better than I do. He texts back pretty fast, especially if it's about gardening, that you can bounce ideas off of and steal their ideas and stuff like that. So that's super valuable. Thank you, Brandon. Gotta get a friend like Brandon in your life. So I'm out here, and for my sake, this is B8, what I'm calling it. And I cleared it the other day, and I'm just gonna add some compost. This compost is, there's an onion that's kind of not broken down yet. This compost isn't quite broken down. You can kind of see some of the chicken bedding is pine shavings. Some of it's still intact, but it's mostly broken down. But I did take it would be nice if I had a soil screener. I did do this, and I've been kind of like breaking up the big clumps. So this compost might not be quite ready, but I'm gonna go ahead and use it anyway. I'm just gonna make sure it's got most of the big chunks out, especially for carrots. I'm just gonna put as much as I have here on it. Yeah, I'll just spread that around. We're gonna plant right in here, huh? So any seeds that might have been in the dirt, this layer is gonna act like a mulch and kind of hopefully suppress those weed seeds. And hopefully the weed seeds that might have been in the compost died, because this did get pretty hot last fall. I started making it last summer. So hopefully the high temperatures killed the weed seeds and any other seeds that I might not want in there. Like there was I saw a tomato skin, and hopefully there's no tomato seeds in there or whatever. But I have about a half a yard left of this batch. So that's great. That's about, you could pay $50 a yard for compost at some spots. So let's save $25, just a little shoveling. So one thing that's often debated is how to loosen up the soil. So I'm not trying to till this, especially since it's a raised bed. It'd actually be quite comical to watch me get a rototiller. Try to get a rototiller up in here. So what I'm going to do though is I made this broad fork. I cut out the pieces with a piece of angle iron, and then my brother welded them together. Essentially it's just 5 tines here, and I could have made it better. I got a little bit of repairs to do on it actually. Just kind of made it with what I had. But they're kind of a couple $100 or more. So I just kind of made my own. But essentially you just kind of, this is already pretty loose, but that's going down like 6-7 inches. I'm not like tilling it. I'm just kind of like breaking it up so it's not quite as compacted. Because, obviously carrots are a root that if you kind of want them straight, they like loose soil. What I'm doing also is I'm doing this after I put the compost in, so I'm kind of working that compost in a little bit to the first couple inches of soil, but I'm not turning it. If anything, they say the benefit of this is adding a little air, aerating the soil, and that's good. The bacteria and the stuff in there needs a little oxygen, and the soil has to drain. So that's all I'm really gonna do. So last year I did my early carrots in these two beds, and I did 5 or 6 or 7 rows in each bed, and which is great. I sowed them all at the same time, but I also harvested all of them all at the same time. Actually, my sister came over and she made a video of us harvesting them. I can link that maybe or show it here somehow. So we are going to, my mom always said, you reap what you sow, and the Bible says, he who sows sparingly reaps sparingly. He who sows generously reaps generously. We're gonna sow a little bit more towards sparingly this year because we had plenty of carrots, and you can always sow some more in succession. And if you're like me, you saw these sitting on my table and you thought, what the heck are those? Those aren't typical orange carrots. Well, you are right. I got a gift card for my birthday from my friend Jim, which was super nice, and it was to rareseeds.com or something, rareseeds.com, and which is also apparently Baker Creek heirloom seeds. And I saw these on there, and I'm typically not a let's try different things kind of guy. Like, we're not even really growing some things this year. You know, I just try to grow food and common varieties that I don't have to think twice about. But look at these things. If this can turn out anything like the picture, this is Kyoto Red. Is that how it's said? Kyoto Red carrot. There's 300 seeds in here, so I'll do a little bit of a smaller row of that maybe. This is Pusa Aceta Black, and look how pretty that is. It's like a purpley black, maybe with a black root. If it keeps the color when cooking, that would be really cool to eat and like a stir fry. And then also Lula Lu Sang, and they are purple outside and orange inside. Look how pretty those are. And these have between 200 and 300 seeds in them as well. So Royal Chantenay was the fatter kind. That's the one we didn't like, so I'm not going to do those. Imperator were a little bit longer and skinnier, so I might try those. And then Tender Sweet, these are a longer carrot also, and I'm not sure, I haven't done these ones actually, I don't think. The other one we liked, I just got these from the elevator in bulk down the road, the farmer's elevator. These are Little Fingers, and these are a skinnier root, and they have like more of a blunt end, kind of like the tip of your finger. So this was $1.50, and there's a lot of seeds in here. So if you have an elevator that sells bulk seeds, that might be worth something checking out, or that might be worth checking out. You just don't get the fancy picture on the seed packet. You gotta write it yourself. So on this trellis here, I am gonna grow pole beans. So I'm gonna give it at least a foot before I start my first row. And if you watch the video this far, this is the big takeaway for carrots. Here's the secret or thing to watch out for. Hopefully not a secret. Tell your friends. They need to be wet the whole time during the germination period. That could be up to 3 weeks. They cannot dry out. So what I've seen other people do and tried and had success with is I'm gonna water right here, give it a nice little bed of water, and it's gonna be a little tricky with the cedar because that kind of gives it its own, it's got its own plow. But specifically on the ones I'm gonna hand seed, I'm gonna water real good, a trench, and then I'm gonna cover them, and then I'm gonna water again sparingly, but then you can even cover them with cardboard or something to make sure they do not dry out. I'm gonna be out here every day, multiple times a day, making sure they don't dry out. I'm just gonna give myself a row here. And I'm gonna go probably 4 to 6 inches apart here. I'm gonna give myself another row. And this is gonna give me a little bit of grace if I let it dry out. At least the bottom of the seed bed where it's resting while it's germinating is gonna stay wet. Gonna keep moisture. So I'm gonna let this soak in, do it a few times. It's kind of like pre-wetting your potting soil. If you just put the seed in there, sometimes the water, like that water right there, something in this dirt, it might be sand or whatever, is almost like hydrophobic, so the water's kind of just running away. Now, if I had just put my seeds in there, it might have washed away the seeds. It might have not wet the seeds completely, and those are not going to germinate. And you wouldn't even know. So I'm going to make sure my seeds are sitting on something pretty damp here. So let's just see here. That water is, a good 3 or 4 inches down in that. And I'm going to just take my stake here. Yeah. So do it one more time. I do not want these seeds drying out. All right. But that's kind of what it looks like here. So I'm going to try some little fingers, and I do have tags. I'm going to write a tag real quick. So I'm going to add these seeds. Little fingers. And hopefully this works. Well, I see him down there, so now those seeds are kind of embedded in there, maybe a little deeper than I want, but one article I read said they can be they can go a little deeper. So I'm just going to cover that up, and hopefully that's that. If that works, that's pretty easy. I might try these rows the same way. Yeah, they're in there. I don't know, we'll see. That's 3 rows with the carrot cedar. I should put that on my tag and see, so I don't forget. I always think I'll remember, and then I don't. I don't know how long carrot seeds last, but this is $1.50, and I didn't put a dent in them. They're from last year too, the seeds, so have a little bit of grace. So you probably will hear me say this a lot throughout the life of these carrots, and if I keep talking about them in videos, but if you've never had a carrot from the garden, right out of the garden, on a cold morning or whatever, or even from a local farmer that just picked them from his garden at the farmer's market on a Saturday morning or whatever, and you are missing out. If all you know of carrots is what you've tasted at the grocery store, then you were like me. I did not like carrots. A carrot right from the garden is way different than the grocery store. It's one of those things where you might not be able to tell with some things, but carrots you definitely can. These are those tender sweet. I'm gonna do 2 rows of these. So obviously not quite as fast as the cedar, but also, you know, it's a nice day out here. The birds are chirping. The chickens are eyeballing me for snacks. I probably should have the kids out here with me, but I'm trying to figure some of this stuff out, and they have a little less patience, and I'm trying not to burn them out on this stuff. So the other thing is I'm doing this bunk, and then in a couple weeks we'll do the other bunk. I'll make them come out here and help me, and then because I've already done it once, I'll look like I'm an expert. I've already made all the mistakes. So they're gonna be like, wow, my dad's so cool. So I'm gonna do 5 more rows. Hopefully that fits. It looks like it's gonna work out perfect. It's about a month before our last frost. So these could take up to 3 weeks to germinate, and then we'll be right in to the growing season. I think I started them even a little earlier last year. These will germinate in the cold weather. They actually prefer to germinate in the cold weather. I'm pretty sure. I'll have to double check that on the seed packet. If I had to tell myself anything when I first started, it's like, hey, figure out what kind of weather the thing's like, you know. It's kind of cool that we get to plant all this stuff, but even tomatoes aren't native to where we're at in Michigan. They're more of a tropical thing, so you got to figure out, you know, what they want. Oh my gosh, I just spilled a bunch there. Oh, I have the hang of the head. We're not gonna call it a little sticky thing. Let's try this. There we go, we got it now. Okay, well, I overseeded those 2 rows for sure. So that's that, 10 or 11 rows, 4-foot rows of carrots, 6 different varieties there. I was reminded again how much I love carrots, and also while you're sowing seeds, you kind of just think and you're humbled a little bit that you get to take part in God's design. Like, I can put that seed in the ground and water it, and it does its thing, and then I get to reap the harvest of it, and it's for my benefit. Like, that's how the world works, guys, and that's how God takes care of us. He provides for us, and we get to participate in it. So it's just a crazy experience, sowing a seed, reaping the harvest. And also I was kind of reminded how good friends I have. My friend Jim, who for my birthday, he's so good at getting gifts. I am not good at getting gifts, but he's so thoughtful. For my birthday, he got me a gift card to a seed store, right? And I would have never thought of that. And my friend Brandon, who is always trying new things with gardening, refining his things, and then sharing freely. You know, when I ask questions, it wasn't just gardening today. Today I was asking him about, we made yogurt and how to, you know, fix our mistakes with that. So I have some pretty awesome friends, and maybe I won't use the carrot seeder because maybe I do need to slow down and think of all the blessings that God has given me. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm gonna water these one more time and not let them dry out.